Welcome to the 11th episode of MedLife Mike Talk. We are your hosts, Alec and Alex, and we got a lot to discuss about. We were not here last weekend, but we are here to do double coverage and even do possibly triple coverage in regards of going over some massive news on the Giants with Daboll being let go of his job as of yesterday. But we want to go over, before we get to that major news, we want to go over the loss game to the 49ers, 24 to 34, and then another fourth quarter collapse to the Bears, 20 to 24. Yeah, I mean, where do we even begin with these two games? Um, the Bears game was a little better than the Niners game. The Niners game, um, just wasn't a fun game overall. The
Mm-mm.
only thing that I'm really getting enjoyment out of these games is just watching Dart's, growth, but that's about it. Um, I don't know, you want to get your quick thoughts just overall before we break down, both games, but just both losses. I mean, they suck. Um,
I
and
saw it coming.
fourth quarter claps again. So,
I called it the last episode. It's all about how the offense will perform and if defense can finish it. And obviously, from the two results of the two games, the defense failed us, especially against the Chicago Bears, a game that we should have won. And not just that one, but back to the Broncos game, the Cowgirls game, and I think I might be missing another game, but I saw a statistic. I think you shared it on Facebook. It was those games that they had like a pretty much like a 90 something chance of winning and
yeah.
only like a 1 point. Well, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So they
You shared it.
had the Giants had a 92.3% chance, a 99.3% chance, and a 96.9% chance of winning late in the fourth quarter against the Cowboys, Broncos, and Bears, and they lost all of them. And the odds of doing that are 1 in 60,000. So they're
But
again
we're the New York
always,
Giants
yeah,
and we
they're
made those
always on
odds
the wrong side of the stats, the wrong side of history. It's,
humiliating.
yeah, and you know, now our coach ended up getting fired because of these statistics, unfortunately. But before again, I don't want to jump ahead too far with Dable getting fired, but I do want to go over Jackson Dart's performance, at the Bears game or at the Niners game, I apologize. He went 24 for 33, 191 yards, two touchdowns, eight carries, 56 yards, and another touchdown. Another solid performance overall. Just I'm impressed with this kid, and he impresses me week in and week out. And I know he does the same thing with you. Um, he's looking more of a pro out there than he is a rookie. Um,
He's playing his ass off.
yeah,
He's trying to make those plays. He's trying to win. You know he's competitive. We know what he can do with his legs. Obviously, at a cost. You know, now he's out with a concussion, but he's just pocket presence and like what he can do to make them plays. You know, get first downs and everything. Um, but besides him, like I just the rest of the team is just I don't even know. Like defense is just terrible. Besides like Burns, you know, bringing in sacks and pressure, but stopping the run is horrific.
yeah,
Defending the pass, the Deontay Banks is just Jesus Christ
oh,
terrible.
yeah.
Which I'm still shocked that they just didn't do anything to try at least get some picks or whatever during the trade deadline or give up like players that aren't playing like Evan Neal, Jalen Hyatt, stop wasting roster spots. But, it's just what the Giants do best and it's just make silly decisions and at a cost, how we are as a organization, and how we've been performing for the last decade.
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. I mean, there's we could do a whole 3 hour episode on what they have done wrong in regards of just the overall build up to this roster development. But the one thing that's been driving me nuts the last couple games, some of these star players that we were paying some big money for, besides Burns, really, but the defensive line really haven't played to the par that they should be playing at. I was giving them leeway throughout the season, but Dexter Lawrence, like, just looks like a
A
version of
shadow of himself.
himself that he is I've never seen before. And I watched him a lot during the Niners game, specifically because of the whole call out from the media, with Carl Banks calling Dexter Lawrence out, saying that nobody's afraid of him anymore. So I was like, all right, let's see if Dexter will take this and have a great game. And I specifically watched him a lot throughout the game, and it was bad. And it carried over again to the Bears game. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's a coaching thing. I don't know if we'll get more answers when the season's over. Because again, we're not in the locker room. We don't have contact with anybody in the locker room. Nor does any reporters know anything currently. You can make assumptions like maybe he's still dealing with of an injury, but that's no excuse. Like this, he just doesn't look good at all out there.
He doesn't look like he's 100%. Something's going on.
So I don't know if it's a personal thing where he's having an issue with the coaching staff and he's just not trying 100% on the field anymore, or he's actually hurt, or he's more hurt than what is being shown. But again, these are all assumptions. We have no idea, but it's very, very disappointing. And then Kayvon Thibodeau, Abdul Carter, um, all these guys just disappearing in the games. Yes, they're getting pressures, but as we saw in the Bears game, can we freaking sack a quarterback? Like it's ridiculous how many times this has happened. Kayvon literally took wrestling lessons all throughout the offseason. Man, what lessons did you take? Because you better get a refund because you cannot pull a quarterback down for the life of you.
He
It's
had like
insane.
about three or four chances to bring him down. He just couldn't wrap it up.
The same thing we're seeing with the Abdul. Like Burns, I'll give him a pass for the Bears game. It wasn't his best game, but Burns is the guy that's been carrying the defense in general by himself, basically making plays while he's on the field. So I can't really get on him too much. But Dexter, Kayvon, and Abdul's the last two games have been his worst games on film. And I don't know, he just needs to get his head out of the ass. I really don't know. Because again, I know he can play. Same with Kayvon, can play at that level. And same with Dexter. So let's get it together. I just don't know what's going on. I feel like there's so much going on in this locker room that, the fans are just not aware of. And this Daboll firing is, gonna play a role into the rest of these next 7 games and how this rest of the year goes. Just very interesting. The defense, again, just unbelievable. Unbelievable. You mentioned it
Sleeper.
before too. Deontay Banks, useless. Just useless. That guy will hold every receiver, and anytime there is a good play on the field for defense, let's say the defensive line gets in there, gets a sack or a hurry, there's a flag down the field
It
for
happened. Abdul Carter
holding.
had a sack and it got called back because I'm pretty sure it was Deontay Banks.
It was, yeah. And it happens all the time. Anytime there's a flag down the field, it's either Phillips or Banks. And then Banks looks all shocked. I'm like, bro, like you do this every week. So it's just so frustrating for a guy who just doesn't seem like he cares to be out there, doesn't seem like he cares to listen to the coaches, and he's very immature for his age. And I will continue to bash this guy until he's not on this team anymore because it's pathetic that he was a first round pick that we traded up for, Joe Shane. And this guy is turned into an absolute disaster when he's on the field. And I've been saying this for weeks. Anytime Deontay Banks is on the field, bad things happen every single time. And it continuously happens. When there's a flag, the ref's like number two. I'm like, cool, get him off the field. I don't care who goes in there. Get him off the field. Get him undressed. Send him to like give Gatorade to the players on the sideline at this point. I don't even want to see him on that jersey anymore. Like I'm so done with seeing him. I'd rather see Jalen Hyatt play every single snap out there as starting receiver than watch another snap of Deontay Banks. That's how done I am. So yeah, gets me so frustrated that kid. And then just I don't even know where to begin. I really don't. I guess we could jump into the Bears game because
Yeah, the
the Niners
49ers.
game,
I
like,
don't
there's
even know
really
what.
nothing to go about it. We made Mac Jones look like Tom Brady out there. And a lot of it comes down to the players. A lot of it comes down to obviously the defensive coach, which I think obviously he's going to be fired at the end of the year, regardless. Now that we made a firing of the head coach, I don't think Shane Bowen's lasting, regardless, even if they
I
both.
think they should have fired him and Daboll like that same day. I'm still shocked he's still on the team.
I agree. I
I would have
agree.
freaking cut his freaking office card or whatever so he can't come back into the building.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree on that.
I'm so over it. I'm so done. Like we just need something different. Like I'm tired of people like coming into the running through our defense first of all, which our defensive line should be like one of the top. So obviously it's just shit. And
Yeah.
then don't even get me started on the passing. Also, Deontay Banks on who we're always bashing on, but I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what Shane Bowen's cooking in that playbook or what kind of schemes he likes to fucking run, but obviously it's not working. So
I think he's reading off a Denny's menu. So at this point,
I think he's playing Madden.
yeah, that too. All right, so we'll get into the Bears game. So yeah, so like we said, the Giants are up 10 points in the fourth. We end up losing the game 24 to 20. Immediate reactions. I mean, before we get into the statistics, all the fun, stuff. What was your overall feelings from beginning of the game to the end?
Well, when we had the lead, I already knew that we were gonna blow it. I'm not gonna lie. I was hyped, but I just knew that this lead that we had was not gonna last. And I was up. I was like nervous, and I saw Caleb Williams run that in for a touchdown. And then I got up and I got myself one of these. I had about like six of them. Drank my sorrows away. But it's ridiculous that we can't finish a goddamn game when we have a lead. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't understand. It's like another dagger into my heart.
Yeah,
It
at worst,
it's
I
just
think we could
like
be at least five
we
and
should
five.
not we shouldn't be what we are right now. We should have more wins than when we have as losses, because these close games, but we just fucking blow it.
Yeah. Well, it's the losing on the walls. I've said this for the last couple episodes too. It's just the losing culture that is in the locker room. The players accept it, and the coaches have accepted it. Because some of these reactions after games from some of these players, I'm just like, can you care a little bit? Like, can you show a little more emotion than what you're showing right now? Cough, cough, Dexter Lawrence.
I
Like,
also I saw something. I don't know how you definitely saw this. So I think it was pretty much the clock winding down to the end of the game, and they cut a quick angle on Daboll. They showed his face.
yeah, yeah,
And that reaction I saw kind of like I was like, oh, he definitely knows he's getting fired after this game. and I kind of felt it after like just seeing his facial expression like for that little time that they gave him a little cut on that camera. I don't know if you saw that, but I
Yeah,
definitely did, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, he definitely knows he's getting fired.
yeah. I mean, he was a dead man walking. I mean, Sean Marash on the W Fan radio station reported last week that Daboll was supposed to be fired before they even landed for the Denver game, but John Mara got held back to wait a little bit because he was pissed that we lost that game, which again, it's very inexcusable loss.
Yeah,
Um, so when that game happened, the Bears game, and the ending happened, everything happened. Um, I want to talk about one of the biggest things that happened in the game and have a little couple discussions regarding this incident. So Jackson Dart, another solid game before he gets hurt. But a very solid game again in cold weather, very windy out. I was like, all right, this is gonna be a great test for him to see like how he plays in this type of weather because he was being asked about the weather all week. So I was like, this is gonna be another test, you could add to the resume for him to see how he would handle the situation. He goes out there, 19 for 29, 66% in passing, 242 yards, passing yards, 8.3 yards per pass, six rushes for 66 rushing yards, two touchdowns, and zero interceptions. And then he gets concussed. And I think this is one of the biggest reasons that Dable got fired.
yeah,
Um,
definitely. I
I
heard.
don't,
I
I think
saw.
a lot of it's obviously performance based too, but Dable being not fired during the Denver game, I think the only way, and I said this to you on the last episode, I said, what's going to happen is that Dart's going to get hurt next, and it's going to cause a ripple effect, in which it did. 24 hours, not even 24 hours, and Dable was shown the door at 11 o'clock in the afternoon or 11 o'clock in the morning, Monday morning. So it's the frustrating part. Like, yes, I understand Dart, that's his type of game. He's a runner, but he has shown that he's a great throwing of a quarterback and processing the field, processing the pocket. But Dable has him running like a Josh Allen, like a Lamar Jackson. But the difference between Josh Allen and Dart is the size difference between both of them, one. And then Lamar, very quick and is able to step out of balance and slide when needed. Dart did slide a couple times in this game, which was good, but he did take a lot, and he lost a tooth.
You did lose a tooth.
Lost a tooth from getting hit. But again, that one again wasn't that was a normal in the pocket quarterback hit. That wasn't like he ran into that. But you saw the writing on the wall, the way this guy runs, that he was going to get hurt. And he's been in the medical tent 4 times out of 7 games, which is pretty bad. And the fourth time ended up being where he did not walk out the medical tent and ended up being concussed. And we still don't know, as of Tuesday night, what the status will be for the week, which I'm assuming he will not be playing on Green Bay on Sunday. But I'm
Definitely
hoping
not.
he'll be ready for the Monday night game against the Patriots the following week because he'll have that extra day, which will be good. Um, so I'm hoping that's the case. But this is the downfall, with Dart, where he has to, one, learn how to protect himself. But the new coach that comes on this team in the next few months needs to get in this kid's face, not in a mean way, but drill in his head that he can't be playing football the way he plays football like that. Because you're not going to last in the league, because you're going to continuously get hurt, because these guys are going to run you over. And that's
Yeah, and
exactly what's happening.
we don't want freaking Dart to throw up gang signs like Tua either.
Yeah, no, 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 definitely not. Like that's the case is like we got a franchise quarterback. So now the next coach that comes in here has got to protect him and get it in his head. I understand he's very hard-headed, and this is how he was in college when he would be spoken to. But Dable praised him and kind of like instigated his toughness. And again, you can still be tough. You don't have to be like, don't be
Yeah.
tough.
He's
There's a
proven he's tough. He's
just
proven it
pull it back
already.
a little, just pull it
He
back a little
pull
bit.
back. Like we know he wants to get the extra yardage. He wants to get those first downs, keep going, keep the drive going. But brother, like we don't want you to get last thing we want as Giants fans, our quarterback, our freaking captain of the ship to go down, which
Yeah,
sadly it did. But maybe hopefully after this one, it's a learning lesson, and he'll start sliding more and be more aware, and run out of bounds maybe instead of trying to go for it and not get yourself killed out there because that was a pretty hard hit because after he lost the ball, he caught it, then he landed, or his helmet flew off, kind of like fell off,
yeah, yeah,
hit the ground, and then it looked like the player also like landed on the back of his head too.
yeah.
So that was like a
And he
double
was
whammy.
definitely out cold. I mean, for a little like
Yeah, he did take a
second or
little bit to
so,
get up.
because he didn't even go for the fumble, and that's
And
when
then I
I
saw and
knew.
then I saw his tooth like freaking missing. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, and that's when I knew he was actually hurt when he didn't go for the fumble at all. Like he just sat there, didn't move, and I was like, oh no, he's hurt, hurt. Um, but again, you saw the writing on the wall. I said this. I was like, if he doesn't learn how to slide or not to take the hits when there's times and places where you could take those hits in games. He takes them whenever throughout the entire game, which is fine. It's not fine, actually. It's not fine.
Yeah, it's
But
not
it's like,
fine, but I
um,
understand why he's trying to do it,
yeah,
but he's got to be more aware. And hopefully, like I said before, hopefully after this situation, he'll be more aware of his surroundings, and instead of trying to fight for that extra yard or two, he'll just run out of bounds,
yeah,
make it up for the next play. you know.
yeah.
So
I think,
we'll see what happens. We'll see, how well he recovers. If he'll be back. I highly doubt he'll be back this week, but definitely, hopefully for the Monday night game, like you said, against the Patriots, because that's going to be another tough game, especially because how Drake May is playing, and the Patriots look like their old selves again.
yeah.
So,
Well, the Patriots is what I think the Giants will be next year. I'm confident the Giants will be in a wild card playoff race next year with the right coach and then with this offseason to get more pieces for Dart. Because again, the hardest part of a team is getting the quarterback right. And I think the Giants got it right. And I think the Giants know they got it right. And I think the league also knows the Giants have got the quarterback.
I
So
mean, he got Rookie of the Month,
yeah. And it's
so
now putting the right pieces around him as what like the Patriots did. Because the Patriots won all, I think, 2 games last year with Drake May. They went out, spent all this money, beefed up the offensive line, got him Stephon Diggs, and now Stephon Diggs looks like he's back in his prime again for him. And now they have star receivers on the Patriots, and the defense has bulked up. Um, so I think a lot of things the Giants can take from the Patriots what they did. And this is why I think the Giants will be in a better position and we as fans will be in a better position next year. We just got to get through these next 7 games. Um, and just go from there. Because again, we'll
hope
have
for the best
Malik
for next
Neighbors
year.
back, we'll have Scatterboo back, we'll have Dart, having a full off season with the both of them, full off season with whatever rookie or even free agent receiver that because either way, we're bringing in a star receiver from the draft in the first round, or they're going to trade for whoever is on the market in the trade in March for a receiver for to go off with Malik Neighbors. So, and then you got Theo Johnson, who's starting to become a piece. And then you have Tracy, who's also a solid piece, but you have Scatterboo. So it's like they have pieces to build off with Dart while they're in their rookie contracts. This is when you try to cash in a Super Bowl run is these next 2 years with the rookie quarterback to really get a good taste of like building off of like a good team. So I think the Giants will get there. It's just now we have to go back to finding a new coach again. So I guess we'll just jump on that right now. So Daboll was let go of his duties as of yesterday, around 11 in the afternoon. Oh, I keep saying afternoon, 11 in the morning. Um, it was close to the afternoon. Um, were you expecting it? Were you shocked? What was your immediate reactions? You
I
go.
wasn't shocked. Uh, like I told you before, I saw his facial expression at the end of the towards the end of the game where they cut towards his facial expression. I knew he was getting fired. I just didn't know when. Um, I found out when I was at work. You texted me and Kayla in the group chat, and then I looked at it. I was like, "Oh shit!" So the first thing I did was go on Google, and I was like, "Holy shit! He's finally fired." I was though very disappointed that Shane Bone was not fired, but you know that will probably most likely happen at the end of the season, or maybe after this game. Who knows?
Yeah, yeah,
If the defense continues to play the way they do, um, but still, you never want to see someone get fired, but Dable had it coming. But still wish him the best, whatever his future endeavors are. Now it's just time to move on, find a better coach that fits our scheme or our organization and represents it well, and then brings that New York like passion that we once had, like with Tom Coughlin,
yeah,
like the discipline, like what the New York Giants are. So hopefully, we'll find out whenever that time is over the offseason when who we decide to be the new coach of the Giants, and yeah, we'll go from there.
yeah. My immediate reaction, I expected it. I don't know, maybe not expected. I thought it would be a good point. Just the way, like I said, just how Sunday's game ended. I think the Dart injury did not help his case at all. Like now you got the quarterback hurt and another fourth quarter collapse. So I think those two alone, those two situations did not rub John Mara the right way at all, which it didn't, because it came out that John Mara made the call and then contacted Joe Shane and told him that he's letting go Dable. So John Mara is still making decisions, while still battling, cancer. So that is a good thing to hear, him still like being involved. Because I was curious to see like who was taking control of this team, while John Mara is, you know, handling treatment, doing all of that. Like he's battling bigger stuff right now rather than, dealing with the team right now, which is again more important. So to hear that the report saying that he was the one that made the decision, he's the one that met with Dable yesterday morning and told him that they're basically parting ways, and then contacted Joe Shane about it afterwards. And then the Giants put out a message on their social media that they let go Dable and that they're going to have Joe Shane by the side making the decision to find the next head coach, which I want to start this topic real quick. I think that's a terrible idea. I think at the end of this year, Joe Shea needs to go. I look at them as like a package deal. They came in together, they should leave together and just restart this back up. New GM, new coach, because the Giants have done this process where they have kept the GM, fired the coach, and then guess what? A year or two after, they fire the GM and they fire the coach. So it's just like you don't live or you don't learn from the stuff you've done in the past. So like, why are we going to do it again? So if they're going to keep Joe Shane while this team has still been really bad on depth wise. Guess who's control of that? That's not Dable's control. That's Joe Shane's control. So for Joe Shane to be okay to still have a job and to be side by side to look for the next coach is just baffling to me as a fan. So Dable's final record was 20, 40, and 1. And with the Giants, he started off great. And we thought we found the next guy. Playoff run, won a playoff game away since the last Super Bowl run, and then won Coach of the Year. Like a lot of people forget about that. He won Coach of the Year for us. And then after that, it crashed down real quick.
Apparently, Coach of the Year also has some history. E- Everyone as one as Coach of the Year has been fired so far, from what I've heard. I forgot who was the first one that started it, but I saw it over a couple days ago on, I think it was on Facebook.
Yeah, I have to look at the list. But yeah,
I could look it up right now, real quick.
it really is sad to see like what Dable started with us, and he changed so much from the beginning all the way to the end. And I think he like lost himself while he was the coach. Because in the beginning he was all this tough, strong, and dependable motto that he carried, and I think he got away with it and lost himself throughout this process after things got dark. And you know what the scariest thing is? I don't know if you're aware of this, but guess who's about to come in the building this week? Hard Knocks. So Hard
Ugh.
Knocks starts filming with the Giants, Cowboys, Eagles, and Commanders for the last half of the season. So we're gonna have cameras in the building while Kafka is the intern head coach for the rest of the year. And that's if nothing crazy else happens, because again, this is all going to be on camera now. And the cameramen are going to love this. And Hard Knocks was not the Giants' best friends last year. It ended up being like the worst enemy for the Giants. So
Uh,
I'm terrified as a fan to see cameras back in the building again. And Hard Knocks, like I said, is going to start filming in the next couple days for their new season.
I always hated Hard Knocks, especially with the Giants. Now, like they're filming the Giants. I always thought it was bad luck as well.
Well, that's how all the Saquon Barkley stuff happened, and then all the video clips that they used from Joe Shane. So, who is your dream coach that you would want? And it doesn't have to be like, don't be like too unrealistic, but don't be too realistic. Like, be like find somewhere in the middle that you think like it's somebody that you would want.
You won't believe me, or you probably be shocked and like will disagree, but I I'm not opposed to the idea if Bill Belichick became the Giants' new head coach. He does have history with the Giants, like coaching for them. He has won many Super Bowls.
Okay.
He has the history. Yes, he looks like freaking Palpatine from Star Wars, and he's always angry face and shit. But I mean, I would not be opposed. Um, Another one I wouldn't be opposed of. I mean, we spoke about this before. Like John Gruden came back, but that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, no.
Um,
She's getting sued by the NFL and stuff. That's a whole messy process. The Giants don't want to get themselves involved in that. They're already like a joke right now.
who else would I?
How do you feel about a Mike McCarthy
I
coming in
don't
the
know.
building?
McCarthy, I guess. Yeah, I mean, he's been with the Packers. He was with the Cowgirls, which I'm still shocked that they fired him. But that's just Jerry Jones being Jerry Jones.
I mean, they weren't performing well with, him as
Yeah.
the coach. So, I mean, the NFL is a performance-based, league. So if you're not winning games, you're going to get booted. It's that simple, regardless of how good of a coach you were or are. If you're not winning games, you're going to get next man up. And that's what happened with Dable. And that's what happened with McCarthy and many other coaches every year. If you're not winning, and if you're not winning playoff games too, because that matters too, which I have a guy that I think that I did not mention to you that I think that would be a good sneaky coach if he becomes available is a Mike Tomlin,
Oh, Mike Tomlin. Yeah.
because there was whispers last year about the Steelers needing to, the Steelers organization is getting frustrated with the same wild card exit for the last 6, 7 years in a row. It's like, yeah, you're making the playoffs, but you're embarrassing yourselves in the first round every year. You're doing just enough to make the playoffs and then get eliminated. So if the Steelers do that again, and in the last two games, they haven't looked good and they haven't taken the quarterback seriously. Think about it. If you look back at the history, even before, right after Ben Roethlisberger, they get Kenny Pickett. That was a hard reach. Now the Kenny Pickett's a backup, like third string. Then they went for Rudolph for many starts. And then they went to Rodgers this year because, again, still didn't draft a quarterback. They don't take it seriously because they win enough games where they're too far in the draft every year where they're not able to get a quarterback. And now the organization now is getting frustrated with Mike Tomlin in regards of the situation that they keep seeing themselves in every year because it's like they win just enough, but they're not in good position to get a quarterback because they're so high in the draft board. And all these other teams are getting quarterbacks all the time, and then the Steelers are like the high 20s. So he's a guy that I could see that just needs maybe a refresher in New York. I mean, New York is going to be a very high-end team that people are going to want to coach here because of the players that
Sure
we
hope
have
so,
here.
man. I hope so. Man, it'd be like a dream come true if Wink Martindale just comes back,
Yeah,
defensive coordinator, or if, fuck, I would love it if Antonio Pierce freaking takes like defensive coordinator job for us, dude.
yeah.
That'd be
I would like
cool.
Antonio Pierce was mentioned as a head coach candidate for the Giants, which I'm not really fond about that. I'd rather have him as a defensive coach than a head coach. That's just my personal, opinion on that. But I do believe that he'll be a good defensive coach for the Giants, and I think they really need that type of coach in the building in general. Like not even just a head coach, but just defensive coach and a head coach. Just
And someone that's played for the organization that knows like what the
yeah,
Giants, what we're all about,
yeah,
you know,
I agree.
and has been to the Super Bowl, knows what it takes. I'm sure that he would be a phenomenal defensive coach if he, God, it would be a miracle.
Yeah, I mean, he was the defensive coach for the Raiders, and they were fine. And then he got brought up, was the interim coach for the Raiders, and then ended up getting hired for the head coach, but then got fired. Because again, it's a performance league, and he wasn't winning games with the Raiders, regardless of how bad the roster was. But again, if you're not winning games, you're going to get let go. That's what happened. Um, I hope that'd be awesome to, bring him in for the defensive coach. I think he will do a great job on that. And I think he needs that type of attitude in the locker room. And then head coach wise, I think the Giants are not going to go around and get like a new coach anymore. I think they're going to try to get a coach that has at least coached in the league, like as a head coach, just so they have some idea what to do rather than like getting somebody new again, like Daboll or
Yeah,
like Joe Judge. Um, those guys never coached before besides like, offensive coaches, but like never not as a head coach. I think this time around the Mara and if Joe Shane is handling the hiring too, they're going to hire a coach that at least was a coach before. So like that's why Mike McCarthy is a name that gets thrown around. Mike Tomlin, like I said, it's just some ideas that people are throwing out there because of just, like I said, performance based. So it's going to be very interesting. We won't have any answers until like January, mid-January, and beginning of February is when they could start interviewing for head coaches. But at least they could get a head start on it. And this is a legit tryout for Mike Kafka for a head coach because he could be the head coach next year because he gets interviews all the time for head coach, and he was very close of becoming the Seattle Seahawks head coach and made it to the final round. So these last 7 games, is going to be a legit tryout for Mike Kafka to see how he handles the locker room, how he handles the media, how he handles game play management. They did report that he's still going to do offensive play calling. I'm very curious to see how he's going to handle the play calling um, going forward without Daboll in his ear because Daboll and him butted heads a lot on the playbook. So now that Daboll's gone, I'm very curious to see if like Kafka's gonna like switch his plays back around a little bit, like the way he wants to call the playbook.
We'll
Um,
find out on Sunday.
yeah. So yeah, so good way to end the I was about to say pay-per-view. Good way to end the episode. Um,
Premium live event.
we have the Giants versus the Packers at 1 o'clock at home. Um, I'm less excited for this game because Dart might not be playing. So hopefully Jameis Winston gets the call this time because
I hope so.
man, Wilson, you can't put him out there as QB1. He looks like a shell of himself out there. He has cement feet. He doesn't move his feet at all. And he looks terrible. Looks terrible. Well, if they put him out there, they're very unserious and they're not serious about winning games if they're going to go out there tomorrow and announce that Wilson will be the starting quarterback. So I
Yeah.
think, I think let's see, what did you have for the Packers? Uh, all right.
Oh,
You
we
had
lost.
you had them winning the game. I had them losing the game.
What?
Yeah.
Well, I can't change it anymore, so I guess I'm gonna ride it with a win. Who knows? Anything can happen.
Yeah, I mean anything can happen. We'll see, any given Sunday, but we'll be back on next week's episode to discuss the Packers Giants game. Probably a Winston starting quarterback situation, and we'll see how that goes. But please like, subscribe, comment as always. We appreciate you. We will be back next week. Peace.